There was a very important historical controversy, really an international controversy that sort of set the mood for the requirements or the desire for a memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe to be placed in Berlin. It was called the Bitburg controversy. In 1985, relationships between Germany and the United States were beginning to warm up a little bit after a very long period of sort of antagonism. The Chancellor Helmut Kohl invited the then President Ronald Reagan to come to Berlin in what would end up being a highly publicized, televised media event that would be part of the sort of demonstration of the reconciliation between Germany and the United States. The plan was to go to the Bitburg cemetery where Reagan would place a wreath. Now, the issue was that the Bitburg cemetery was the site where the soldiers in Hitler's SS, or so-called protective echelon, where these soldiers who were the sort of epitome of Nazi evil were buried.
For many years now, local American, French, and West German military commanders have gone to that cemetery every November to join in a wreath-laying ceremony honoring all those who died in World War II. But apparently no one, including the White House advance team or the U.S. Embassy, ever bothered to check out the identity of the dead at Bitburg. Most of the 2,000 German soldiers who are buried there were killed in the Battle of the Bulge in late 1944. But at least 49 headstones are clearly marked SS and contain the remains of Nazi stormtroopers. The SS, originally the security arm of the Nazi Party, pledged allegiance to Hitler first, country second. It was the SS that killed most of the estimated 6 million Jews who died in the Holocaust.
The excuse was that there was a military base, an American military base nearby, and that the sort of combination of German cemetery and American military base somehow in the minds of Kohl and Reagan made sense. This, as you can imagine, sparked an enormous international controversy about the inappropriateness of an American president really, in a way, celebrating the German SS soldiers. And this is how Reagan responded and defended himself. He says, these SS troops were the villains, as we know. They conducted the persecutions and all. But I think there's nothing wrong with visiting that cemetery where those young men were, because they were victims of Nazism. They were victims just as surely as the victims in the concentration camp. This is a stunning declaration. This is a stunning equation of men, women, and children who died in the gas chambers with SS soldiers who were actually propagating the deaths. The relativization of victims in that way, of the equation of the soldiers with the victims, is an indication of a deeper, of an underlying condition where even educated people, when remembering the Holocaust, would oscillate between, on the one hand, this relativization of the Holocaust as just one victimization among others, and this desperate need to forget. The Bitburg controversy helped produce a kind of public understanding of the conditions that required a memorial to the murdered Jews. On the one hand, there was, as I say, this relativization of the Holocaust, a desire for reconciliation, really a desire for kind of forgive and forget, and a return to Germany's noble past before Nazism. On the other hand, there was a recognition for a need for a critical memory, a kind of collective responsibility of constantly working through the past as part of one's everyday life, a refusal to package the Holocaust so that it can be redeemed and set aside, and the recognition that there's a social responsibility for constantly working through this.